in the black waters of the harbor, a dream of freedom. The year was the 1770s. On one side of the Atlantic lay a new land called America, and on the other side stood a vast empire upon which the sun never seemed to set, Great Britain. The relationship between the two was strange. On one hand, domination and exploitation, on the other, protest and resistance. The people of America still thought of themselves as part of the British Empire, yet their voices were never heard in the British Parliament. This one-sided rule suffocated them. Again and again, they declared, "No taxation without representation." In other words, if we have no representatives there, why should we pay taxes? This became the echo of their hearts. Amid this simmering tension, the British government introduced a new law, the Tea Act. At first glance, it seemed harmless. But its intentions were far deeper. The act granted the powerful East India Company the sole right to sell tea in America without paying taxes. As a result, the company could sell tea at much cheaper rates than American merchants, pushing local traders toward ruin. Behind this law was a calculated move. The British thought, if Americans bought this cheap tea, they would indirectly accept Britain's taxation system. Their reasoning was simple. When tempted with low prices, who still thinks of principles? But they were wrong. The people of America refused to sacrifice their honor for cheap tea. They understood clearly, this was not merely about tea, it was about dignity. Then came December 16, 1773. The air in Boston was heavy with silence. 3 ships, the Dartmouth, the Eleanor, and the Beaver, lay anchored at the Boston harbor, loaded with cheap tea. For the Americans, those ships stood as symbols of humiliation and challenge. As night fell, a historic event unfolded. About 100 to 150 men gathered. They covered their faces, some disguised as Native Americans, so no one could recognize them. Quietly, they boarded the ships. They neither looted nor harmed anyone. Their target was only one thing: tea. For nearly 3 hours, they worked relentlessly, hauling one heavy chest after another, each weighing around 150 kilograms, breaking them open and dumping the tea into the harbor's black waters. By the end, the sea was covered with tea leaves. In total, 342 chests of tea were destroyed, worth millions in today's value. The next morning, when the sun rose over Boston, the people saw tea leaves floating across the harbor. That sight became a symbol of silent but powerful resistance. It carried a message loud and clear. We will not obey your rules. We will not bow to your oppression. This event came to be known as the Boston Tea Party. But it was not just a protest against tea.